Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Beanie and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a quick little player review. The content that they came out with on Friday, there really wasn't that much. There were only 3 new cards. They did come out with like some Griffies and some stuff like that, so you can finish the Diamond Griffey program, so that's pretty cool and everything. But as far as new original content, there were only 3 new cards and all of them appear in the ticket counter, so those are the guys that we're going to be reviewing. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, first off, we're going to start out with the 89 overall Masahiro Tanaka, and this card is really compelling, but when grading him, I feel like he got inflated a little bit just because his pitch selection is so good. He has fantastic pitch selection, and pitch selection in my formula accounts for 40% of the player's overall grade, so it's the most important thing. So the fact that his is so good, I think it does kind of inflate his score just a tad, but for the most part, this card is fantastic, or not fantastic, but it's really good. And for his per 9s, they are very solid. They come really close to hitting that 155 threshold that we look for. And also another benefit is he has 90 walk per 9, and as we know, that's the most important thing when it comes to a pitcher's like control and their ability to hit their spots. So that's definitely a plus for this guy. His per 9s aren't overwhelming. They're basically, for a high gold or for a low diamond pitcher, they're pretty average. He's not going to be this big PCI shrinker, so you do have to kind of take that into account. But everything else is spot on with this pitcher. His pitch selection, like I said, is fantastic. Splitter, slider, fastball, sinker, curveball, that's about as good as it can get. And he throws all of them pretty effectively too, and he might have one of the best splitters in the game. There are a few relief pitchers that have really good splitters too, but for a starting pitcher, his might be the best in the game. And his stuff is pretty good as well. He's not Noah Syndergaard, right? He's not going to be throwing 98, 99 miles per hour or anything like that, but he's going to be throwing hard enough, probably reaching about 94, something like that. Actually, guys, I just went and looked it up, and he sits 93 with his four-seam fastball, and he throws a sinker at 91. So with his four-seam, he could probably touch 94, 95, and with his sinker, he could probably touch 90, 92, 93. If I were using this guy, I would not throw his four-seam that often. I would mostly stick with his sinker, just because whenever you're not throwing, 95 plus, you do need to have a lot of movement on that fastball. But there are some really good things about the speed at which this pitcher does throw the ball. With his splitter, he does throw it at about 86 to 88, somewhere in there. So he has a decent amount of speed change with that and a lot of break on it. He has 95 break on his splitter. That is amazing. And he has a great slider, too. He throws his slider at 84, so that is a big speed differential on a pitch that's awfully deceptive, and he has 93 break on that as well, so that's going to be a big pitch for you, especially against right-handed hitters. But the big speed differential is on that last pitch, the curveball. He only has 79 break on that, which is still pretty good, but he throws that thing at 74 miles per hour. So typically, I'm not a big fan of curveballs, but whenever you have one that slow, it's a big change of pace for your opponent. So that's really effective for a guy like this. I honestly, guys, I really like this pitcher, and if you're looking for a budget option to stick in your rotation, I think this guy could be really effective in that capacity. For things like events, I think he could be very solid for you. Overall, I think this is a very solid pitcher, and I gave him a grade of a fag. I'm sorry, I got to say that word. Everybody likes when I say the word fag. His final assessment grade, or fag, is a 7.9. Next up, we have another first baseman. They come out with one of these, it seems like every content update, a first baseman that hits really well but doesn't really have anything outstanding going on for him. So I have to grade him above average, but I can't grade him too high because these guys are a dime a dozen. The only good thing, I guess, about this guy is that you don't have to spend stubs on him. You can get him relatively cheap in the ticket counter, and he is going to provide you really solid offense. He hits both sides of the plate really well. He's very solid against righties and against lefties. He hits them extremely hard. 92-90 versus lefties. His vision isn't too high. 52 is not that great, especially when you have guys that have, that hit both sides really well, are left-handed and have really good vision. This guy doesn't kind of compare to that, but overall he's a very solid hitter. Defensively, he's awful, but at first base, we only care about that, so much. Like, I don't know. A lot of people disagree with me on this, but I just never find myself in situations where first base defense hurts me all that much. It every now and then, like very, very rarely. As far as the speed goes, 52 speed, honestly, is probably above average for a first baseman. A lot of first basemen you'll see will have like 30, 40 speed. Some guys like Miggy or something like that have even worse than that. So 52 speed is decent for him, but it's not great. Overall, this is just, it doesn't excite me at all. This isn't that great of a card. It's a good hitter, but that's about it. So I gave him a grade of a 7.3. I have to give him an above average grade because he's a great hitter, but for the most part, this card is not exciting at all. Next up is the 92 overall Brian Dozier, and it's kind of interesting. Brian Dozier is actually an acquaintance of mine. I went to the University of Southern Miss. He went to the University of Southern Miss around the same time. So we would always kind of see each other at like the bar whenever we would go out and stuff like that. He's a really nice guy, really good guy, and yeah, I'm glad they gave him a diamond card. And this card is actually not that bad. It's pretty compelling. He's a power-hitting second baseman, and those are kind of rare. I do wish that his contact was a little better versus righties. If he had like 75 contact versus righties with 73 versus lefties, this card would actually be really, really exciting to me. But 61 to 70, I mean, it's not that much different, but it's different enough to where you do kind of have to take that into account whenever deciding on whether or not to get this card. It would be nice to have that big power at second base if that's something you're currently lacking, but he's not going to provide you great defense, and he doesn't have the kind of speed that you want out of your middle infield. Typically, I like that. If I do carry a speed guy on my team, I like to have him at like second base or shortstop. But if they can provide both power and speed, then really you can put him anywhere. But this guy is just mostly just a power guy. He does have the speed to kind of hit a few doubles, maybe stretch the occasional triple, something like that. But for the most part, this guy is going to be just a power threat with kind of a smaller PCI. Maybe if you have a left-handed second baseman like Robinson Cano or something, you could think about sticking this guy on the bench as a platoon guy. That could hit both sides pretty good, but his lefty's considerably better. So he does have some utility in that regard. So taking all that into account, it was kind of tough to grade because he's kind of like an outfielder or a first baseman or something like that in a middle infielder's body. And I just say that because he's a power hitter, and typically when I grade these, I grade middle infielders more on speed and defense and contact, and then if they have power, it's a bonus. This guy is kind of the reverse of that, so he is a little tougher to grade, and he probably got downgraded, or like he probably was graded on the low end because of that. But I ended up giving him a grade of a 7.4, and I feel like that's pretty fair for this card just because he is kind of a bat-only second baseman. Like, you do kind of want to get defense out of those guys too, maybe a little speed. Very tough card to grade. I mean, he, like I said, he's a friend of mine, so I'd love to give him a 10.0, but I have to be as objective as I can and things like this, so I feel like a 7.4 is fair. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Player Reviews. I know it was on the short end, and I know I was kind of off my game. I just woke up. I was trying to get a video out a little bit earlier today. I'm going to edit this up and get it out as soon as possible, and I know that whenever I wake up and I don't, have time to get like a coffee and like get up and get going for this stuff, sometimes my videos end up not as good, but, just bear with me, and the next player review will be better and more exciting. I don't know if it'll be more exciting, but I'm just, I'm just trying to get something out for you guys. So yeah, guys, I will see y'all tomorrow or later today. I don't know what my plans are for the rest of the day. I might put out some more content. I don't know. But until then, I will see you guys later. Peace.